Whether you've just completed your Couch to 5K journey and are ready to kick on, or training for your 10th marathon, runners are runners, and there are certain things we should all do that massively help our longevity in the sport and help look after our bodies to stack up those lifetime miles. This will help not only our performance in the sport but also our enjoyment. Today I've put a list together of 10 things that I think all runners should consider. But of course I'd also love to hear from you more experienced runners down in the comments below. When you get through the list, if there's something you think I've missed, please do drop a comment and share what you think has been absolutely vital to your success and longevity in the sport. Number 1, find your routine. We'll get a couple of the simpler ones out the way first, but they are extremely important, and having a routine is right up there. But one of the most important things you can do as a runner. As I said in the intro, regardless of if you've just graduated from your Couch to 5K and are looking to kick on, or you're training for your 10th marathon, a routine helps all of us thrive in the sport. And I appreciate it's not all about performance, it's just about enjoyment as well. Now, my top tip here for a lot of people out there with families like myself, with jobs, other commitments, is to find those days that you know that you are probably going to be able to run every single week, those days that are almost a nailed on certainty that you'll be able to get out the door for a run, and make those the priority runs of the week. So maybe pop those as the speed work or maybe the long run, depending on however you structure your training. And then of course you can dot in those easy runs everywhere else throughout the week when you get a chance to get out. If you know you can get out on a Monday or a Thursday, then you can definitely pencil those in to maybe be a speed work day and an easy run day, and then the other days you can get out, you can just drop in whatever else you can. Obviously we all need to take our time and find our routine, find a structure that works for us, but ultimately it massively helps mentally as well as physically. And speaking of routines, number 2, get yourself into some kind of good structure with training. Follow a plan, get a coach, join a running club, do something that's going to allow you to put some kind of functional training in place to allow you to progress through the weeks and months. Once again, I will repeat, I understand that a lot of people just love to get out the door from a mental health aspect and just love to keep fit, get out in the fresh air and just do something different, and that is a really healthy way of viewing the sport. What I also recommend to people that have that mindset, as well as people that are a little bit more competitive, is that I still think it's worthwhile following some kind of plan, because what you'll find, and it's a massive mental boost, is if you are following some kind of structure, you'll be able to look back in 6 months time and realize that you're running those runs you used to run just a little bit faster. And it's such a rewarding feeling when you know you've been getting out the door, following that routine of yours, and it's paying off because you're able to either cover more ground than you used to, or you're able to just move a little bit quicker than you were before. So definitely get some kind of structure in place, it'll really help as well. And number 3, a little bit of a 2-in-1 here, respect the warm-up and the cool-down, especially as you get a little bit older as well, like myself. I wouldn't be without the warm-up and cool-down these days, and I am specifically talking about those speed day sessions, although I do recommend always easing into runs as well, especially if you're a newer runner. For a newer runner, I'd absolutely recommend a 5-minute brisk walk before you even get into any type of running. Just going to get the blood flowing nicely and get the body prepared for when you get going. And if you're a more experienced runner, absolutely, there's no reason why you shouldn't be doing a 10-15 minute warm-up before you get into your workout. I've been experimenting with warm-up and cool-downs for a long period of time now, and there are 2 things that I find to be really effective. Number 1, if it's race day, I've broken up my 15-minute easy warm-up into 12 minutes easy and a 3-minute at marathon sort of effort. It's a bit of an injection of pace there to get everything warmed up. And the reason I've done this, and I should mention of course 4x20-second strides. The reason I've done this is because I've found in training it to be really effective to have a slightly slower rep at the start of some of my workouts. Again, I can personally often find that the first couple of reps can be a bit slow as I'm getting into things, and I find that by penciling in a slower rep before I get into the main bulk of the workout can really help. I highly recommend that to you. And of course on the cool down, once again, there's no reason why you shouldn't just be doing a nice easy 10-15 minute cool down just to shake the legs out. And of course, once again, as a beginner, there's no reason why you shouldn't be trying to finish 5 minutes from home and doing a brisk walk back home. It's a little bit like driving in a car in 3rd and 4th gear and then suddenly just turning the engine off. You wouldn't do that. You just slow down, park the car and then turn the engine off. Kind of think of it that way. Just bring the gears back down and park up when you feel like you're ready to do so. And number 4, strength work. My word, this is a topic in itself. I'm just going to touch on a couple of tips here that I think will really help you guys. This is coming from personal experience, someone that doesn't have the best running form, but someone that has overcome regular injuries to be able to run relatively well injury-free these days. I'd highly recommend, potentially, if you can, seeing a personal trainer for a few sessions. Get them to assess your body mechanics, how you move, get them to assess your running form, get them to see where your strengths and weaknesses are and what they would recommend working on in the future. This is exactly what I did. I saw a personal trainer around about 5 or 6 years ago, had a 12-session plan with them, and then from there I've been able to build on that and work towards fixing my weaknesses. And then what's happened from there is every single week I'll incorporate a core session, 1 or 2 potentially, and some upper body work, but I do all this at home. I no longer need to go to the gym. I know where my weaknesses are. I've been working on them for a long time, and it's great to be able to have that knowledge rather than just going, oh, I need to do a generic full body plan. I think the prospect of that for a lot of people can just completely switch them off and mean that strength training never gets done. Whereas if you know you have specific things that you need to work on, it doesn't quite feel so daunting, and it definitely means you can incorporate those exercises into your weekly routine with a lot more ease. That coupled with a really sensible dynamic warm-up and activations always goes a long way. Once again, for me, I will always do bird dogs, I will do squats, and I will do single leg walking lunges before I get out the door. The bird dogs help activate my posterior chain. The squats and single leg lunges help me activate my glutes and get everything firing there. Those have always been my weaknesses. Once again, since incorporating this, it is very rare that I get issues when I'm out running with my glutes and my back. But of course, this all needs to be tailored individually, so I highly recommend doing your own research and seeking some help from a proper personal trainer or finding someone with a bit of knowledge that will be able to help you out. Number 5, fuel well. This catches so many people out. We can often go out there for an evening run or potentially a morning run. If it's a morning run, let's say you didn't really have the biggest dinner the night before and you didn't get much food in the morning, you might feel a bit sluggish, a little bit lethargic. If it's an easy run, let's say you didn't have the biggest breakfast, or you skipped lunch, or you had a very light lunch and you've gone out there, tried to do a workout, and you feel absolutely trash. This is so common, absolutely nothing wrong with it. But I think a lot of us can start to overthink this in the form of, oh my gosh, are we overtraining? Oh my gosh, I'm too tired. Oh my gosh, is the fatigue setting in? And yes, there might of course be elements to all of those things, but ultimately the first thing that I always now look at if I ever feel like that is, how did I fuel? And then often I can come back and go, well, actually you didn't have the biggest dinner last night, therefore you're not going to feel as fueled in the morning if you're getting out there on a light breakfast, or in the evening if I didn't have a big lunch. That could be the reason why I haven't felt the energy levels are up there. Number 6, get yourself the right pair of shoes and potentially retire shoes earlier than you think to keep that rotation fresh. I mean, as you can understand, I could be very biased about this topic, so I'm going to try and take myself back because of course I love testing shoes. I test shoes all the time on the channel, but what I have learned over time, especially going back to my beginning years, is I used to run 500, 600, 700, 800 miles in a pair of shoes, get ankle and knee pains, and then switch into a new pair of shoes and think that that was okay, but then of course those pains would carry on for another couple of weeks as I was getting used to my new shoes, and then that would settle down. And I realized very quickly that's not the way to go. You should never get to that point. You should always make sure that you change your shoes out maybe just a little bit quicker or a little bit sooner than you think. And I think what a lot of people can also experience with shoes as well is ankle pain, knee pain, shin pain, glute pain, all of these things. And it can obviously be down to shoes. If they're not working for you, are they too soft? Are you pronating in too much? They're not quite giving you the support you need? Or are they too supportive? Are they knocking your natural mechanics out? You have to remember, we are so individual, and that's why it is really important sometimes to just go and get your gait analysed at a local running shop. I'd highly recommend doing that. When you have that gait analysis report, or if you've been running for a while and you're starting to understand what shoes may or may not for you, outlet shops are a great place to go. Once again, this is where I used to shop all the time. I'm still in outlet shops now, always hunting around for a bargain. I think they're a brilliant place to go to pick up last season's models or even the season before. You've got to remember that unless we get some kind of monumental jump in terms of technology, a lot of these shoes are just very minimal tweaks from season to season. There's nothing wrong with getting last season's shoes or even the season before. I'm currently using a pair of super shoes, the Adios Pro 3, which are the previous version, and they came out over 2 years ago now. So spend a bit of time, if you are getting any pains and aches in and around the ankle, shin and knee area, do consider checking out what shoe choice you're wearing. Are the midsoles too soft? Are they too firm? Are they not working for you? Check that out. Number 7, track your progress somehow, whichever way you want to do it. There are plenty of running apps out there that will allow you to track. If you have a smartwatch, then usually the app that comes with that smartwatch, Coros, Garmin, Polar, Suunto, they all have their own apps, and of course there are plenty more Apple Watches, all of that jazz. They'll have the stats in there saved for you, and that's a great way to keep track of things. If you're not interested in that, if you're not using a GPS watch, get yourself a spreadsheet, get yourself a notebook, however you want to do it. It is always, as I alluded to earlier in the video, great to look back and see how you have progressed in the sport. As I said, it doesn't matter if you're chasing PBs or you're just getting out there for fun. Seeing progress, regardless of how much or how little, is just one of the most rewarding things that you and I can do. We put that hard work in to get out the door. We put that hard work in to put in the miles and the kilometers, Therefore, it's really nice to be rewarded with that feeling that we are running a little bit quicker, a little bit further. And it's great to see that progress week by week, month by month, year by year. Because of course, when you get out the door every week, you don't necessarily see you're progressing in that short space of time. But when you're able to get a year's worth of training logged and then look back over it, you'll be surprised at how much you've progressed. And it's just such a great feeling. Now, ironically, I did do a video recently about Strava in particular. I do recommend that platform, contrary to probably what a lot of people think. I just use it for the basics, which is where I just go on and log my miles and keep a track of my shoe mileage. I don't really get involved in anything else on there. The clubs are decent. I keep connected with a lot of my athletes in there, and that's fantastic. But the general overall consensus with any of these type of apps is don't get too sucked into a lot of the data. Just really use them to track your miles and kilometers, and then that will give you something to look back on in the future. Number 8, you must learn your effort levels. This is something that I am really passionate about, and I do try and talk to my athletes a lot about this. You and me will be bombarded with pace plans, with heart rate plans, with power plans, all of these training plans, and people wanting you to work by certain metrics. And I do think that's extremely valuable when you become a little bit more experienced. But what I often find and recommend to people is to really try and lock into the actual effort you are putting in. And breathing patterns, honestly, are the first place to start. Now, you could really take a deep dive into this. I don't think we really have time today. But my honest thoughts are, if you are following a training plan, just take a note of what your breathing patterns are when you're doing certain efforts. A good baseline example, a 4-4 breathing pattern, where you're taking 4 steps for 1 breath in, 4 steps for 1 breath out, often means you're in an easy to steady effort. A 3-3 pattern, where you're doing 3 steps to 1 breath in, 3 steps to 1 breath out, again can mean you're maybe starting to dip into that tempo zone. And then a 2-2 breathing pattern is often when you're doing those intervals. Now, of course, you don't have to change what you're doing, but what I would genuinely recommend when you're out on your easy run, keep a note of that breathing. See how it feels. If you are creeping into that 3-3 breathing pattern, just drop it back a little bit. That's just a little sign of your body telling you that you might be working a little bit hard on those easy runs. When you are doing that interval workout, are you doing a 3-3 breathing pattern? Should you be pushing it a little bit harder in 2-2? Of course, these are all things that we need to take time and work out. It can definitely take weeks and months to really start to home in on, but it's something that I try and encourage so many people to lock into when you're out there. If your plan says go and run these reps at this pace or these reps at this heart rate effort, that's great. Go and do it. Don't change anything that you're doing at this stage, but keep an eye on your breathing. See how it feels. Work out that breathing pattern. Tie it into your heart rate. Tie it into your pace. Over time, you'll start to be able to piece all of these metrics together, and you'll then go out there and know that this pace is roughly around this heart rate for you, and that's roughly this type of breathing pattern. And once again, when we're talking about progress, you'll be able to see later down the line that that pace drops for that same heart rate, and for that breathing pattern, that just might slow down a little bit, might feel a bit less labored, and it's just another way for you to get in tune with your body. Number 9, do what you love, not what social media tells you to do. This probably wouldn't be on any type of top 10 list 10 years ago, but of course with the evolution of social media, I feel it's a really important thing just to put out there. Remember why you got into the sport, remember what your why was, and remember that your growth through the sport is down to what you love doing and how you love to train, and not what other people do. And so what do I mean by that? Well, if you're involved in a big local athletic community, or if you're involved with a group of friends that have all taken this journey on to become better runners together, remember that that's the reason why you love doing what you do. Jump into races that you really want to do with your friends, with a group of people you want to share these experiences with. And of course, do look at those big goal races that you might want to jump into in the future. They're all really exciting. The sport is a wonderful thing in the fact that we've got those great small club events, and we've got those really big events, those glitz and glamour events that we can all train towards and do our best to get into if we can get into them. I just advise you to just take a little bit of a step back when you are looking on social media, because of course there is a lot of brand sponsorship these days. Lots of people on social media might be promoting certain races or be going to certain places, and that's fantastic. These are all races, I guess, that the brands are trying to showcase and just give you a little bit of an idea, but don't get too sucked into that world too early on. If you start chasing these wild race dreams or these races that potentially were never on your radar before, you might find that you go down a rabbit hole that you never fully intended to go down in the first place. For me personally, I like to do a good blend of both. I love to jump into local races, and I love to do the big races as well. I've found over the years to have that great mix of the two. The first 5 years I only ever did local races, and then I started dipping my toe into the bigger races. I think with social media now, as we jump into the sport, we are marketed those big races to straight away, and I think they're great. I think you should definitely aim and have aspirations to get into them, but I'd also recommend really supporting those small local events. They're organised by clubs that have runners at the forefront of their mind. They're always catering for all abilities, and not only that, but you get the great social aspect too. You turn up to those local events all the time, you start to make friends, see familiar faces, and it's just a great feeling. So just remember, do what you love, have those aspirations, but just keep in touch as to why you started the sport. And number 10, go at your own pace. The whole point of enjoying the sport and the reason you personally enjoy it is because you found your way into it through your own path. Stick to that path and expand it when you are ready. What I'm trying to say is you do you, don't do what other people are doing. Here's the thing that I learned very quickly when I started running. There are people in this sport that are much more naturally gifted than other people. I've been running over 10 years now, and in the early days I used to get so frustrated that people around me were getting quicker and I wasn't. We'd be doing the same training, getting out at the same times, doing the same type of runs, yet their progress was much faster than mine. Sadly, genetics does play a part. I'm 6'6", I'm not the most natural runner in the world. I've had to work really hard to get to the point where I am now, and a lot of people could get there a lot quicker. That's why I'm saying go at your own pace. You'll learn very quickly, and I mean this in a very nice way, if you're genetically gifted or not, and if you progress well and if you progress fast. And if you don't, coming from someone that doesn't, it's okay. Just go at your own pace. You'll be really proud of yourself when you make those milestones. It might take a little bit longer than other people, but that is no problem at all. So those are the 10 things that I think all runners must do. I'd love to hear your thoughts, especially those more experienced runners. As I mentioned at the start, if you have made it to the end, it'd be great for you to drop a comment below and let other people know what I've missed, and of course what you would recommend doing in the running world. Something to help them on their journey and what you think has massively helped you get to where you are, enjoy the longevity in the sport, and really helped you progress along the way. Now, speaking of progress, if you're interested in bringing your 5k time down, then I would recommend checking this video out here. Here are some of my tips. And if you're interested in shoes and want to know about the latest shoe tech from Puma, check out this video down here, the Puma Faststar Nitro Elite 3. This is an exciting one, and I'll see you guys over on one of those.